I chose today's Q&A because it gives us a worldwide perspective of topics such as the EBS, 10 Days of Darkness, and disclosure. One thing that many of us have heard for 8 years now is that where we go one, we go all. This remark demonstrates the hopes and anticipation for the shift across many countries, including those that are war-torn and suffering. America is not alone, guys. Canada, Italy, the UK, and hundreds of other countries. We are all in this together. If you are only watching the mainstream media, you are not seeing the unrest across most countries of the world. Begin to think globally and don't allow the media to bias you towards any country. Yes, so many of us are suffering from unprecedented crimes by illegal immigrants, but I want you to consider something. These gangs are not the people of the nations they come from. They are funded and facilitated by the dark ones. They are not the majority of illegal immigrants who have been lied to by political leaders, the media, and non-governmental organizations, or NGOs such as the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, and various other migrant aid groups. Advocacy groups and activists such as United We Dream and others have encouraged individuals to seek asylum loopholes in other countries, but looking for a better life does not meet the requirements for asylum, and somebody needs to tell this to these people. Specifically, to qualify for asylum in the United States, an individual must demonstrate a well-founded fear of persecution based on race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group, and show that their government is unable or unwilling to protect them. So, I also want to make clear that just because there are good people looking for a better life, it doesn't mean that they can just illegally cross into other countries because it is a burden to the country that they are coming into. And I think they are beginning to realize this. There's a legal way. It may be expensive and it may be inconvenient, but millions of people do it every year, including my husband. If people can pay thousands of dollars to a cartel to get into the US, they can pay for the application process to do it legally. I'm hearing how dreamers have married Americans, and the narrative is that their families will be split up. This is simply untrue. I know several people that were in this country illegally for decades, and they married Americans, went through the process, and received legal residency and ultimately citizenship. So don't buy the lies. Where there is a will, there is a way to do it legally. There is hope for us to live in peace, but it is not by moving adversity, poverty, and crime from one country to another. Our hope for world prosperity comes from fixing the problems and corruption in the countries that they are fleeing from. We are going to discuss proposed plans that have circulated about the plan to fix the illegal immigration, and it's ingenious if it's real, in my humble opinion. This part of the video is specifically addressed to Americans. It has been my observation that people around the world often know more about the United States, both geographically and politically, than most Americans do. In fact, it's interesting that my largest audience demographic is in India first and the US second. The world knows the importance of the fate of America, guys. The fate of the world is literally in our hands and our ability to see through the constant programming and support change. As a people, we are not competing countries. We are human beings that have been under the same system of oppression, though it may be manifested in different ways in different countries. We are all suffering, and we are all hopeful, manifesting the free world that will save us. So this comment is about the EBS, 10 Days of Darkness, Q, and other scenarios that we have heard in the US and what people across the world think. So here we go. Susan Nachman commented, "It is not easy for me to know what Americans are feeling because I don't live there. No idea what Q is or how your emergency broadcast system works. What I do know is that the Federation, Earth Alliance and councils intervene to prevent widespread serious threats, and for this, I am grateful. As for privacy, the public willingly puts out every aspect of their lives on social media, including private matters such as finances, health, and travel plans. They even showcase their children, so before complaining, some personal responsibility and discretion is warranted. I am not getting that there will be days of darkness, worldwide shutdown, or media takeover. This feels like deep state fear-mongering propaganda. There are, however, and will continue to be government changes and/or collapse in order to get rid of rogue regimes. You can't build a new house on a rotten foundation. From an Israeli perspective, we are extremely grateful that we have the technology used for civilian protection. We have systems, I would assume satellite but can't verify, which send audio and visual alarms to every single person with a cell phone, radio, and TV to take immediate shelter during 3 nationwide attacks. This is in addition to air raid sirens and regular information. The Homefront app and 24-hour television can override everything. It saves lives just as tsunami and earthquake warnings. Tech can be extremely beneficial or destructive according to who uses it and the purpose. About disclosure, my guides do not give the dates or details, but reassure that it will be done in a controlled manner without causing chaos or unnecessary panic. I understand it is a process, taking into consideration that the majority are clueless. I'm all for time-saving formats. It isn't necessary to do so much editing. It's about getting the accurate info out there and preparing the public, especially reducing the drama and fear. My response: I'm getting that people are doing pretty well with these so-called drones, Susan. It appears that the media is pushing the scenario of drones, but the people don't believe it. So many are awakening by this event, and it's so beautiful to see them waking out of the programming. The 10 Days of Darkness comes from Q, so you wouldn't have heard about it. I believe Q to be a U.S. military group, but we truly never know if what was put out is true or why it was put out. So it's been referred to as a movie where the script has been written. There are twists and turns and deceptions, which is consistent with the art of war. Everyone is waiting for the climax promised by Q. So the 10 days was dropped about 8 years ago or so by now. During this lockdown time, the media will allegedly be taken over, and there will be 3 different 8-hour videos playing to reveal everything. Some have said there will also be tribunals of some of the big players and even executions if people choose. None of us know if any of this is true. However, there has undeniably been unexplainable predictive accuracy in some of the drops. Q has turned out to know things 7 and 8 years ago that are playing out now, so we'll have to see, but at least many of us are ready for anything. Q is also the origin to the JFK Jr. and many others, still being alive narrative. I did a video on JFK Jr. which I'll link in the end and in the description. Of course, don't forget to like the questions and comments that you would like featured in a Q&A video. Share these and other videos as you begin to facilitate the awakening of your friends and family. Leave your comments so that we can begin to connect on a deeper level in the development of mankind. If you are able and would like to additionally support the channel, I have a little store. I feature some products to shop, and you can also leave a super thanks gift under the 3 dots below the video. Okay, so let's continue to open up to a global perspective of our world. I don't want people to be fearful. I too am getting that disclosure has been meticulously planned to lessen any chaos. In fact, I'm finding that many people are welcoming extraterrestrial contact. When it does happen, I think the people will be thrilled. Also, there are so many sightings of these high-tech crafts over here that they aren't going to be able to keep a lid on this for very long. Looks like full disclosure will be very soon. I'll be shocked if it goes as quick as it looks like it is. But Q also predicted that once it got started, it would happen fast. Thanks so much for your comment. Glad that you like the Q&A format. So I just want to sum up the consistencies across the world that we are seeing. The Federation is known across the world, disclosure is expected across the world, and it is predicted to be committed to awakening the public without fear. Q is not globally known, which is understandable since Q-level clearance is within the US military. We're still waiting on the outcome of these predictions. There will be supporting videos both at the end of this video and in the description so you can return later. I'd like to leave you with this thought. Individually, we are one drop. Together, we are an ocean.